Cinematic CGI can go one of two ways. There's the cringeworthy CGI seen in films like I Am Legend, Van Helsing, or Die Another Day, and then there's the CGI that's so good you don't even realize the computer effects were actually used. It's how CGI was supposed to be, looking real and a natural part of the scene and environment. Check out 10 movie CGI so good you couldn't tell it was actually fake. But before you do that, click subscribe. You'll join our notification squad and be the first to know of brandy new content. Also, can you guess which movie is represented by these emojis? Stay tuned to the end to find out. The Jungle Book. For Disney's live-action remake of The Jungle Book, the journey takes you into vast forests, raging rivers, and ruined temples. The beautiful-looking film may make you want to book a trip on a safari, but don't expect to see any of the filming locations as you make your travels. Amazingly, the whole movie was filmed on a soundstage. Very few physical elements were used as the trees, forests, and raging rivers were all created digitally. The one real element? The child actor who played Mowgli created his impressive performance in front of blue screens and props while using just his pure imagination. Even more impressive than the scenery is the animal CG that is used in The Jungle Book. Sure, the animals may talk, dance, and interact with Mowgli, but they look like they came straight out of the jungle. The CGI masterfully weaves realistic animal movements to create a surreal and scary sensation at the same time. You believe the animals are real and that Mowgli's journey is as genuine as they come. When compared to other Disney live-action films like Beauty and the Beast and Pete's Dragon, The Jungle Book really stands out for its realistic blend of digital creations. Forrest Gump. The story of Forrest Gump is one that weaves through multiple time periods and key moments in history. Everything feels so natural and authentic that you may think you're watching a documentary rather than a fictional film. The CGI is blended so well within the production that you may not even notice that special effects were ever used. The very first few minutes of Forrest Gump implement those CG effects as a white feather floats across the screen and eventually lands by Forrest on a bench. Those effects only continue to impress. Forrest Gump's amazing ping pong skills are actually all a digital creation. Lieutenant Dan's fake legs? Yeah, those are CG too. And then there are the countless numbers of news footage scenes where Forrest has been inserted into key historical moments. They really made it feel like Forrest met with multiple presidents and was witness to some incredible moments in history, including the desegregation of schools. Even though the film was made in the mid-1990s, the CGI holds up to this day and is one of the main reasons that the Tom Hanks movie remains a classic. Cloverfield. Creating impressive CGI requires a complicated setup, a lot of digital planning, and proper execution to ensure that everything matches up on the screen. When you add a shaky camera to the process, things can get a little complicated. One of the more unique factors of the monster attack film Cloverfield was that the whole film was shown from the perspective of someone's video camera. This means that when the monster attacked or crazy things happened, it was all shown through a handheld camera with no stability. Throughout the film, there were many impressive CGI shots that felt real. Early on, one of those shots included the Statue of Liberty's head getting blown through the air and rolling down a crowded New York City street. Another impressive use of digital effects came with the massive collapse of the Brooklyn Bridge. Not only were those effects in the forefront, but detail shots were taking place in the background. Large explosions, city fires, and helicopters all helped fill the scene and create a realistic-looking experience. Then there's the monster itself. The giant beast is seen roaming the streets of New York City, attacking buildings and causing all types of destruction. The first-person perspective and camera shots made it all feel incredibly real and a little sickening.
I've lost everything! I surrender! What more do you want?
Life of Pi. You know your film is going to face a lot of challenges when the majority of the story takes place on a small boat that has been stranded in the middle of the ocean. Oh yeah, there's also a Bengal tiger that's occupying that boat. Director Ang Lee took these challenges head-on when he set forth to adapt the novel, The Life of Pi, into a big-screen adventure. Instead of risking the lives of everyone in the production, Lee opted to use CGI for the tiger instead of bringing a real beast onto the small boat. It was a smart decision that paid off. Not only is the tiger animation done beautifully, but you can feel the intensity and confinement that Pai Patel must go through when traveling with the beast. A majority of the production was shot on a large tank that was actually constructed on an airport runway. This means that the sky, ocean horizon, and extra waves all had to be animated in with the live footage. This created a layered production that still felt real and didn't look like a cheap-looking backdrop that can be seen in many other ocean films. Gravity. Space movies always have a challenge of delivering the vast openness of space, space travel technology, and realistic versions of zero-gravity exploration. For every mission to Mars, there will be a gravity. While George Clooney and Sandra Bullock delivered impressive performances, it was the hard work put into the CGI that really made this film come to life. Space debris, floating astronauts, and stunning visuals of Earth in the backdrop are just a few of the impressive elements found throughout the tense journey. The filmmakers were literally working with nothing but blank space as they had to plot out shots, angles, and ways that bodies would float throughout the open world. It's no wonder that the film won 7 Academy Awards, including categories like Best Visual Effects, Best Film Editing, and Best Director. Sandra Bullock's emotional journey alone through space is only effective because the CGI works so well. Some of the more impressive scenes, including the spinning and chaotic nature that first occurs when their spaceship is hit by floating debris, watching this movie in IMAX only adds to the immersion and massive scale that was created with the production. Inception. Creating a dream world is filled with many possibilities. You can go with the surreal, make the whole thing animated, or do what the film Inception did. Blend a mix of real-world elements with surreal changes to completely warp your vision and make you rethink everything you thought about dreaming. Learning about the dream world was a huge concept in Inception, and it was not only explained, but showed in a visually stunning sequence that showcased a whole city flipping inside out on itself. Streets and building tops all eventually connected like a mirror image of itself. The surreal worlds also included the rotating hotel rooms and vastly changing environments. The movie even travels to a massive snow fortress that looks like something out of a James Bond film. As the film reaches its climax, we're presented with the deepest stage of Inception, known as Limbo. This CGI-created world was created with a mix of moving waves, buildings in ruins, and crumbling skyscrapers. It may have all been a dream, or was it? But it felt real. It felt very real, right? It's real. This is all real. Oh, geez, I have to watch that movie again. Captain America: The First Avenger. One of the most impressive CGI creations in Captain America was not the digital shield flying through the air, or intense scenes on a high-speed train. It was the early scenes of Steve Rogers. Before becoming the Marvel hero that everyone knows and loves, Steve Rogers was simply a 97-pound boy with a scrawny little body. As Chris Evans was working hard to put on 20 pounds of muscle for the film, there was just no way he could lose all that weight just to become the before pictures of Captain America. This is where the trusty CGI comes in. Using body doubles and a collection of digital effects, the filmmakers behind Captain America really made you feel like you were watching the tiny and weak version of Chris Evans. When he eventually transformed into Captain America, the journey felt real and authentic. Without those scenes, it would have just been hard to relate to Captain America, see the true hero in him, and understand exactly where his character came from. The brilliant mix of special effects allowed you to see the full transformation and was critical for setting up the character in the extended Marvel Universe.
Where's the goat?
Jurassic Park. In 1993, CGI was not a common term known by many moviegoers. As the end credits rolled on Jurassic Park, the movie industry was completely changed. Jurassic Park didn't have anything to compare it to when the film was going through production. Initially, stop-motion animation was going to be used for the T-Rex and Raptors, but that was abandoned once the animators at Industrial Light and Magic could show what they could do with CGI effects. One of the ways that CGI was most successful was by mixing real on-screen animatronics with the digital creations. This made each scene flow seamlessly and made viewers guess as to which dinosaurs were practical effects and which ones were CGI. The best CGI scene in the film was also one of the best scenes overall, the Raptor kitchen attack. As Lex and Tim tried to avoid the deadly dinos, they found themselves trapped in a Jurassic Park kitchen. The use of CGI gave life to the raptors, making them feel like true terrors as they haunted the children. The small details in the animations really added to the cleverness and intensity in the scene. These incredible effects have only improved over time and were a huge focal point for Jurassic World. Avatar. Say what you want about the strange-looking blue aliens found in Avatar, the film's CGI succeeded in many other levels on the 2009 hit. One of these areas was the planet of Pandora. Created from scratch using CG effect, Pandora feels lifelike, beautiful, and has layers and layers of CG content built into it. Never mind the flying creatures and small animals, the trees, waters, and vast beauty presented by the planet truly comes to life. It makes it seem like the planet is a real place, so much so that many people felt depressed after the first movie came out out because they only lived on Earth and could not discover the beauty of Pandora for themselves. You know the CG is good when some works that effectively. The motion capture effects used in the film work wonderfully as well. It took James Cameron multiple decades before he decided to move forward with the production. He needed the technology to be just right, like the CG effects he was able to use for his other epic film, Titanic. As the Avatar sequels head into production, it will be amazing to see how Pandora comes to life once again. Rogue One, a Star Wars story. When you're seeing a Star Wars film, you know that you're going to see a grand spectacle filled with special effects, lightsabers, and a lot of space action. The same can be said for one of the newest films in the franchise, Rogue One, a Star Wars story. As you watch the adventure film, you may not realize how much CG was actually used. The interior spaceship shots are filled with large boards, flashing buttons and controls. While this would have easy to create practically, the whole design is all CG. Before and after shots showcase how much work was put into the designs and how little was filmed on a set. The CG used for flying battles was equally as impressive. In the original trilogy, small models were used to capture footage as real actors shot in front of green screens or projectors. Now everything is made digital, including the pilots, navigation droids, and all of the blaster bolts flying out of these ships. A 30-second shot can include thousands of impressive digital clips. Even the beach battle scene had trees and backdrops added to shots, yet through it all, it feels like an authentic experience inside the Star Wars universe. Which CGI do you think was the most impressive? Is there anything that we missed? What films have the worst CGI? And the answer to our emoji trivia is... Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to Screen Rant on YouTube so you can stay up to date with all of our awesome videos.